Hello everybody, it's that time of the day again. It's the time for our daily horizon view. It's where we look at the top fives for the ASX exchange traded funds through the movement, what's happening today. Our spotlight today is MVR, which is the VanEck Australia Resources ETF. Stick around, have a look at that one, or skip right to the end of the video and you can have a look at it straight away. As always, we're here to crack your financial sky, give you information, demystifying investments and ETFs if we can. That's our goal. So like, subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. Helps me with the algorithms and get me a few more subscribers and like, that'd be great. So for our top five rises today, we saw QR, MVR, which is our spotlight, so hang around for that. UBA, IDH, and QZF. So QR is the ETF's S&P Biotech ETF, and that tracks the S&P Biotechnology Sector Industry Index. So that's a small ETF, just over $5 million. I've done a spotlight on that one, so if you want to have a closer look at that one, just flick through and find it in my other videos. Today we saw a rise of 3.18%, which equated to $1.62 on a very, very small volume because this is a small ETF of 450 trades. So today for our top 5 percentage falls, we saw SLF, U, QAG, QCB, IZZ. So for those who have forgotten, SLF is the State Street Spider S&P ASX 200 listed property fund, and that one's designed to closely track the returns of the ASX 200 A-REIT index. Reasonable size, so that one about $600 million market cap. You get a pretty nice little dividend, 7.52%. Morningstar gives that one a rating of silver. So for the top $5 rises today, we saw SPY, IJH, IVV, QR, and IJR. For those who have forgotten, SPY is a State Street Spider S&P 500 ETF, which tracks the S&P 500 index in the States. So that's a relatively small ETF, so $31 million market cap. You have a little bit of a dividend payable from that one, 1.76% roughly when I checked it last. We had a rise of $3.57, 0.87% rise, and that one on a very, very small volume of 106 shares traded. Top $5 falls, we saw ETPMPD, IOO, IXI, IZZ, IJP. So ETPMPD is the ETF's physical palladium ETF, and that's backed by physical metal held in HSBC Bank in the USA. This is another very, very small ETF. So this one has a market cap of $2 million. We saw a fall today of $1.15, which equates to 0.62%. We can tell it's quite a small ETF just by the volume. We only saw 3 shares traded today, so not much liquidity in that one, so hard to trade effectively. Top 5 number of trades we saw STW, VAP, VAS, IVV, and VGS. Number of states, the STW is the State Street Spider S&P ASX 200 fund. And that one's designed to have low portfolio turnover, accurate index tracking, and with all that put together, it should be low cost. And that one's probably one of the bigger ASX 200 index trackers with roughly $3.6 billion market cap. So we saw a healthy number of trades today of 460. Looks like I'd say net buying. We saw a small increase in the price of 9 cents, which equates to 0.15%. So a bit of volume there for STW. Top 5 for volume: STW, VAS, QOZ, IOZ, and AAA. So once again, STW is the number one spot for volume, just because of sheer fact of the number of trades it went through that we just saw on the previous screen. So volume, share-wise, trade today, we had 322,100 shares traded. So for top 5 for value, we saw VAS, STW, AAA, IOZ, and VIF. VAS is the Vanguard Australia Shares Index ETF, and that one tracks the S&P ASX 300. That one has a market cap of roughly $3.5 billion. You will get a nice dividend of 4.45% roughly. And that one, it has a bronze rating from Morningstar. Value-wise, we saw $19.8 million traded, very, very close to the value for STW. Looks to be net buyers. We saw a rise in the price of 10 cents or 0.12%. So our spotlight today is MVR, which is the VanEck Australia Resources ETF. So the VanEck Australia Resources ETF invest in diversified portfolio of ASX-listed securities with the aim of providing investment returns that closely track the returns of the MVIS Australia Resources Index. The index is a pure play Australian sector index that combines benchmark with blue chip characteristics designed to capture the performance of resources sector of the Australian economy. The index includes the largest and most liquid ASX listed companies that generate at least 50% of their revenue, or they have 50% of their assets in Australia, including, for example, mining services and transport companies. Individual index components are determined using a stringent rule-based methodology focusing on liquidity, with a minimum of 20 holdings, each with a weight of 8%. So they don't want any one company to have more than 8% of the ETF. So to take a quick look, we had a net asset value of 28.86. Today it closed just below that at 28.85. Market cap of $57,700,000. Pretty nice little management fee there of 0.35%. You get a dividend paid semi-annually in Jan and July. Dividend is small, 2.26% when I checked last. So I think this ETF could be appropriate for investors seeking exposure to a diversified portfolio of capped. As I mentioned before, no one stock is over 8% of the total number of stocks held in the ETF. The large Australian mining companies So pretty much it allows you to have a good diversified portfolio without actually having to spend the time to research all the individual companies. Have a look also for research-wise at QZR and QRE. They're both interesting alternatives, so definitely have a look at those as you research before you purchase anything. So you can see on the left-hand side there, all the companies are included in the index fund. So you can see there's a few services companies, so such as Monadelphous. Mineral Resources are a service company to a certain degree, although they're changing into a mining company over the last 4 or 5 years. Even Caltex, petrol refiner / distributor. Orica, which is explosives. Woolley Parsons, which is a contract services company, engineering company. But yeah, predominantly in Washington, H. Saul Patts, which is a sort of Warren Buffett style conglomerate holding company. So they have a lot of investments in coal and other things like that. You see the graph on the right-hand side there. So over the last 4 or 5 years, made a nice little bit of a gain there. Nothing spectacular, I don't think anyway. This is probably something I wouldn't necessarily go into, but like I say, if you don't have the time to actually go through and pick some of these better companies, this might be the option, might be a way to go. So as always, we're not promoting any particular ETF or product, purely information here. So you need to take your own financial situation into account and get additional information and complete further research as and where required before we make any purchases. As mentioned before, we're here to give you financial just information, I suppose, trying to demystify the whole world, make it not as scary as it appears at times. So we're here to crack your financial sky, make you guys a bit more confident if we can. So give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and make sure to hit the bell because you want to know when the new videos come through. Sometimes I try to get them out at the end of every day, but sometimes it just doesn't happen depending on what else I'm doing at the time. Thanks guys, leave a comment, yes, give us a like, greatly appreciated. Catch you tomorrow. Ciao.